everyone, welcome back to Tech Projects. I am back with another video. So in today's video, we are diving into one of the most essential topic in Android development, which is networking. So you might wondering why networking is so important. So think in a way that like every modern app relies on fetching data from internet, whether it is showing a weather updates, whether it is showing fetching the user profiles or display a product listing or whatever. Anything which is coming from internet and showing into your Android app is done with the help of networking. So your app would be static and disconnected from real world if we don't use networking. So we will explore what is networking, how it get done. Then we will also explore how to make network calls in Android using Retrofit in JSON. And these are the game changer libraries which we use for networking whenever you have to handle the APIs in your app. And the best part, it is not going to be only the theory session. We are also going to build a simple real world application with a GET request, which will help to understand how the networking done in real project. So don't further delay, now let's start the video. And if you don't like the video till now, then please like the video. And if you don't subscribe the channel till now, then please subscribe the channel. So now let's start the video. So first of all, we need to understand what is networking. So let me take an example. So you can see this is your mobile or Android application. So we can say this is your app. Now whenever you open a Flipkart, whenever you open a WhatsApp, you can see the lots of messages from your friends. You can see lots of product listing. Now these all the data is coming from database. So now how this data is coming from that database into your mobile application, this coming with the help of networking. So whenever you open the application, it make a HTTP request. So when this HTTP request goes, so there are databases which contain all the information, and once the request gets success, they will return a JSON schema. So they will return something in the format of JSON. Then you will pass this JSON in your Android application and show to the user. So you made a request, HTTP or HTTPS request, and then it go into the server. Then server fetch the data from the database. Then it return back the data which you requested and in the form of JSON. So JSON is the most used library in the world, and it is the structure whenever you make an API call. So this is the basic simple example of a networking. You made a request and you get the data which you requested. Now to make a network calls in Android, we have certain libraries like Retrofit, Volley, and then there are other libraries like JSON, which will help to serialize or deserialize the data. So now to make the network call in Android, we have to use certain libraries, Retrofit and JSON. So Retrofit is a very powerful library in Android that simplifies the network call, making them efficient and easy to use in your Android application. And on the other hand, JSON is used to deserialize the data which is coming from your server point. You just made the request and you get the data in JSON format. Now you can't show the JSON in your application. You have to deserialize that. So to deserializing that, we will going to use the JSON library. And to make the request which you made earlier, to make the HTTP request, we are going to use the Retrofit library. Now one doubt may come in your mind whether these libraries are mandatory to use to make a network call. No, you can use the Android core OKHTTP to make the network calls as well. But these libraries are very simple to use and they make your code base easy to understand. So better to use these libraries. So I hope guys you now understand what is networking, why networking is important, and what are the tools we are going to use, and what are the libraries which we are going to use to add in our Android app. Now don't further delay, let's see on the real world application how to make a network call in Android and see a real world project. So for this I just have to open my Android Studio. So just go to the file and then create new project, and I am just using here empty views activity. I'm not going to use compose, but you can use compose as well. It's totally depend on you. And then I am just giving here networking demo, the project name networking demo get request. So our project is building. So while our project is building, let me show an open API which we're going to use to fetch to make the simple get request. So you can see this is the Chuck Norris API which will give us the random jokes. So you can see this is here written here api.chucknorris.io, and here you can see this is the base URL and with an endpoint. So whenever you hit this endpoint, it will just give you a random joke. So let me just copy paste this into the browser and just press enter. So whenever I press enter, you can see I made this network request in my browser and I am getting this JSON response. Now I have to do the same thing in my Android. So I have to hit this same endpoint and I will going to get the same JSON response. Then I have to deserialize this JSON response into the JSON and by using JSON, and then I will show in my Android application. So basically this is the overall concept of the networking, and any other app in the world moves around this. So there are multiple type of requests are also present, like get, post. You can, if you want to send data, you can use post. If you are just getting the data, then you can use get. So we are going to see the demo of only a get, but we will also explore the post part as well of the networking. So one thing I want to also show you, so you can see this is the api.chucknorris.io is the base endpoint of the any server or any API. So let us suppose if you are building an Android application, if you are building a large scale application, the base URL is always going to be same, and then only the suffix will be going to the change based on the use case of the API. So if you see this, if you want to get a particular category of the joke, you can pass like this. And if you want to see the list of available categories, you can see the base endpoint is going to same. You just have to change the suffix. So this is just a basic example of an API. Let's see an real world application now. So to make the networking call in Android, as I tell you, we are going to use the Retrofit and JSON. So first of all, let's add the libraries in our project. So I am just pasting libraries and then click on sync now. Now I am also using a view binding in my project. So I am just enabling view binding. So it will help to find the views, IDs of the views easily. So it will just fasten our development process. Then click on sync now. Now the most important thing, if you want to make any network call in your Android application, you just must declare the internet permission in your manifest. So just type here uses permission internet in your manifest. It is not a runtime permission which you are going to ask from user. It will automatically will come once you define this permission here. Now come into the main activity. So to make a network call, first of all, let's create a basic simple layout which we are going to use. So for this, you can create any kind of layout. I am going to use the constraint layout. So I am just creating a button here. So button, wrap content, ID, pt, get, joke, and then just giving a text here, get random joke. Then you can give the constraint. You can use the linear layout as well. I will just prefer the constraint layout. So I am just giving the constraint here, end to end parent, start to start of parent, top to top of parent, and bottom to bottom of parent. So it will place our button in center. Now whatever the joke I am getting from the API, I have to show in my app to show you whether I am fetching correctly or not. So I am just taking a text view here as well. So match parent, wrap content, text. So for now I am just typing a random text here, random joke will display here. Then I am just giving a ID to my joke, TV joke. Then top to bottom of button, and just giving a margin top of 12 dp. It's always recommended to use the diamonds for this, but this is just a small project, so I am not using this, but it is always a good practice to use the diamonds in your project instead of hardcode passing the hardcode values. Now just give the start and end constraint, start to start of parent, end to end of parent, and margin horizontal. So just giving a 12 dp of margin horizontal. This is done. So now our basic layout is ready. Now let's move to the main part of retrofit. So first of all, let me tell you, as I tell you, we are going to use retrofit. So to use the retrofit, we have to define the certain endpoint which we are going to use and in our project, and also we have to create the service class for that particular endpoint. We have to also create the model class in which format we are going to retrieve the data. So let's move to the first of the main important thing, the model class. So I'm just creating a new class, Kotlin class, joke. So basically it is going a data class, so joke. Now mention this serializable because we are going to get the data in the form of JSON and we have to convert or parse into our local data class. So as I tell you, this is the Chuck Norris API which will return the data in this format, JSON format. So it can return categories, it can return created at, it can return ID, it can return updated at, and it can return value. So in my demo application, I am just going to show the value. So I will define this field and make sure the values, the key of the JSON should be same exact whichever you are defining in your project. So I'm just typing here expose serialize name. I am going to read only the value. So I'm just typing here val value. Make sure the string should be null. It is a good practice. If you don't make it nullable, then in some cases if API returns null, then your application might get crashed. So it is always better to make this nullable. So I can also define the other thing as well, like this ID and this URL as well, but it totally depends on you. I am just going to read the value, so I just define this joke here. Now let's create our service class first, where we are going to define the endpoint. So I am just typing here ABI service, or you can give any name like joke service or whatever. So this is not going to the class, it is going to be the interface, and then we have to make a simple get request. So I am just typing here get. So you can see this is coming from Retrofit library. So I'm just typing here get. Then one is the best practice as well, always make the networking call in background thread. So networking is a very expensive operation in Android. It can take time, so it should not block the main thread, otherwise it will block your UI animation and you might feel lag in your application. So it is always better to make the networking call in your background thread. So now I just typing the function name here, get random joke. You can give any function name. Then we have to pass the endpoint. So as I already tell you, if you want to take the random joke, you have to hit this endpoint. So I'm just defining here URL and URL string. This is a simple get request, so I don't have to type anything. Now you have to type the response. So you are going to get the response in a JSON format, and then you need to transform into your local data class. We are using the retrofit, so you need to use the response of retrofit, not on OKSTTV, because we are using the retrofit library to get the data from API. So we will use this response of retrofit type, and then inside this you need to pass the which response you are expecting from API. So I am expecting the joke type of response. So it is my choice whether I have to define these field or not, but I can define all, and I can define only one. So because I just want to read only one. So this is also done. Now let's move to the main code. First of all, we need to create a retrofit helper. So it is good practice to create a retrofit helper in a companion object so that you can use in anywhere in your project. Let us suppose you have 100 activities, so you don't need to create it again and again. So I'm just typing here Kotlin class file and then just giving the name here retrofit helper, and just type here object retrofit helper. Then I have to define here base URL. What is the Chuck Norris API base URL? So this is the, as I already tell you, this is http:// api.chucknorris.io. So this is going to be our base URL. So let me paste it here. Now create a function. I am going to write the universal code which can use anywhere in my application. So I can pass any kind of service class to this retrofit helper. So you can see I just created this API service for the joke class, but there are 100 of APIs in my project. So my retrofit helper should expect any kind of service, and it should return any kind of service. So I'm just typing here function name. So that's why I type here brackets and s, then create retrofit service, the function name, then passing the context is required to create this. Then I am passing the service class of which interface I need my retrofit instance, and it will return this. So return. I'm just going to create one more function for this. So fun build retrofit. So it will return the object of retrofit type. So return retrofit dot builder dot base URL. We need to pass the base URL of the base endpoint of our application. Then we need to convert the JSON response into our local data class. So we will going to use the JSON converter factory, as I already imported the library JSON converter factory dot create, and at the end just build this object. Now here we need to build the retrofit for our specific class or specific interface. So I have just by calling this function build retrofit and then dot create, and I'm passing the class which I am going to pass from my main activity or from wherever I am calling this. So this is done. Now let's move to the main activity to see how it is going to behave. So first of all, let's add the binding in our project. Private late init var, then binding activity main binding, then binding equal activity main binding dot inflate, pass the layout inflator, so it will attach our layout file with this, and then set content view binding dot root. Now whenever user tap on the button, so binding dot bt get joke set on click listener, so we are going to get the random joke. So get random joke. Now let's create this function. It is always good practice to create the separate function for separate works. It will make your code readability easy. Now just create the service of your which API endpoint you want to hit. So I'm just creating this variable val service, and I am going to use my retrofit helper dot create retrofit service. And first thing I want to pass the context. So I am calling from here this dot main activity. Then which type of service which I want for this API service. So it will going to get take the endpoint, and it will return the response of joke type. Then after this, we just need to call this from a background thread. So I am just using a lifecycle scope. You can use also coroutines as well. Then lifecycle scope val response. This variable is going to hold our response. So service dot get random joke, and inside this we need to pass our entire endpoint. So first of all, which is our base URL. Then we have a suffix. So it can be any suffix. So it is jokes/random. So I am just typing here jokes/random, and then we need to show the value on our text view. So binding dot tv joke dot text equal response. So it will return the entire response. Then we have to convert into the body, which is our this type of joke class, and then we can access these variables dot value. So this is done. Now this is our entire setup is done for a simple get request in our Android project. Now let's run this application and see how it is working. So I press on run button. Let's wait for the Gradle build. I am also opening my emulator to show you. Our project build successful. So you can see this is just a button, and random joke will display here. Once I tap on this, you can see the random joke is coming, and it is also making a networking call. So whenever you do tap on this button, it will again make an API call, and it will just return the response. So we will explore more things like if user tapping on button simultaneously or multiple times, how to cancel the previous networking call and to make the new one or fresh one. So there are lots of things to explore in the networking, but this is just a simple demo how to make a simple get request using the retrofit, and how to convert that JSON response into your local data class in using JSON library. So I hope guys you like this video. If you have any question, if you have any query, just comment down below. I will try to give the answer of every comment. Please like the video, please subscribe the channel, and please share the video. So thank you guys. See you soon in next amazing video. Thank you.